Now to talk more about all of this is our political analyst, Brian Sobel. What do you think the president needs to do, and what would you like to see from the president tomorrow in El Paso and in Dayton, Ohio?
Well, I think he has to, once again, talk about what's going on in this country around gun violence, but with real conviction. You know, he talked about it in his one speech, but this has to be a recurring theme from this point on. He, not that there's been equivocation, there's just been silence on it in many respects, and it's time to lead from the top.
President Trump really steered clear of mentioning or discussing in-depth gun reform during that speech on Monday, which many people were waiting to hear something. While he did condemn white supremacy and what's happening involving hate, I think the people of El Paso and also Dayton going to these cities tomorrow, they're not going to want anything less than real direct information on gun reform.
Well, you're right. I think he has to call for gun reform. And when you think about this problem, this national epidemic that's been going on for a lot of years, this is such a complex problem that it involves serious gun control, serious mental health study and money. It involves rhetoric stopping from the White House or any place, and it also involves both Republicans and Democrats getting together and demonstrating to the American people that this issue transcends politics.
But do you think, Brian, that we have reached a tipping point? I thought we had reached a tipping point in Newtown when a class of kindergartners was slaughtered. I thought we'd reached a tipping point in Las Vegas when that guy started firing automatic weapon fire at the people down below at the concert. Each time there is one of these, I think, okay, this is going to be the tipping point. Do you think that these two massacres over the weekend and the massacre in Gilroy will be a tipping point?
We all pray for that. And at the end of the day, we hope so. The fact that the president is going this quickly to both those cities, I judge as a good thing, because it's got to galvanize the national discussion around this. Yes, there's going to be protesters, but we wait to hear what the president will say, and hopefully he comes loaded with some commentary around what he's going to do as president to lead our nation forward towards some reforms in all these areas I've just talked about.
And as Americans look for leaders, there's been some intrigue surrounding presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke, Tim Ryan as well. Both of them have returned to their cities, respective El Paso and Ohio, respectively.
Yes.
But they have to be careful with this, right?
Absolutely.
The election.
Yes, they do, Aliana. They can't afford to overplay their hand, but at the same time, O'Rourke comes from El Paso. He's going to have emotion around that. Ryan is in that district that includes and represents that district that includes Dayton. They have a reason to really emote about this, but they've got to be careful about how you play it. People all over the country are experiencing this, and the solution has to be bipartisan, and it has to not be Democrats only, not Republicans only. It has to be all Americans coming together on this.
Well, we did see Republican Congressman Peter King. We did see Republican Governor Mike DeWine both coming out in favor of gun control. So hopefully that's a start.
Well, and finally, you know, the laws have to emanate from the Congress of the United States. These laws that are being enacted in various states, fine, but somebody just goes to another state.
Right. Brian, we'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.